Today we're going to start talking about semicolons and colons. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this comic from the Oatmeal talking about semicolons. Colons I think you'll be able to grasp pretty easily. Semicolons are not hard to use, but they are commonly overused. So first thing we're going to do is look at this comic from the Oatmeal. So it says, how to use a semicolon, the most feared punctuation on earth. Using a semicolon isn't hard, semicolon. I once saw a party gorilla do it. Why? What's the point of a semicolon? Most common way to use a semicolon is to connect two independent clauses. For example, the ice cream truck man drove by the house today. He had big hairy knuckles. The two statements are separated by a period. If read aloud, it would go something like this. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big hairy knuckles. With a semicolon, however, it would sound like this. The ice cream truck man drove by my house today. He had big hairy knuckles. Basically, what we did was eliminate the pause between the two statements, without using words such as and, but, nor, or yet. If you have two independent clauses, meaning they stand alone as their own sentences, it's okay to use a semicolon. So you can use semicolons the same way you use periods. So think of it as starting a new sentence. The only difference between a semicolon and a period is that pause. So when you're writing, how much of a pause do you want the reader to take? Do the ideas connect? Are they similar? For example, my aunt also had hairy knuckles. She loved to wash and comb them. The first part, my aunt also had hairy knuckles, is an independent clause. The part she used to wash and comb them is also an independent clause because it can't exist without the first part. Do not use semicolons with conjunctions. Conjunctions are words like and, but, for, nor, for, so, and yet. My aunt's hairy knuckles are magnificent indeed, comma, but I have no desire to stroke them. Comma is used because there is a but separating the two clauses. Use a semicolon when you want to form a bond between two statements, typically when they are related to or contrast with one another. In the example above, the relationship between gnawing on tires and combating bears is strengthened by using a semicolon. So I gnaw on old car tires. It strengthens my jaw so it better conditioned for bear combat. I fought the bear and won. Period. Also, comma, I never kiss plague rats on the mouth. In this sentence, your victory against the bear does not need to be connected to the plague rat, so a period is used. So use semicolons when the ideas are connected. Also use them to consider how long of a pause you want your reader to take. So with a comma, your reader takes a brief pause. With a semicolon, they take a moderate pause. And with a period, it's a complete stop. Use a semicolon to connect sentences that contain internal punctuation. When dinosaurs agree on something, comma, they'll often high-five one another. Semicolon, dinosaurs are all about high fives. If you use a comma in the sentence, it would have resulted in a comma splice. It would have been a run-on sentence then, because there are two independent clauses. You can also use the semicolon as a super comma. For example, while searching for a good place to get a unicorn burger, I traveled to Seattle, Washington, semicolon, Tokyo, Japan, semicolon, and London, England. Use a semicolon if you need to make a list of items that are separated with a comma. This often occurs when listing locations, names, dates, and descriptions. So rather than have a lot of commas and get confused as to what commas separate one things, you can use a semicolon in place of a comma if there's dates, names, locations, that sort of thing. For example, my favorite people include Samuel Slaughterjaws, comma, a famous unicorn hunter, semicolon, my Uncle Wilford, a world champion at mayonnaise eating contest, semicolon, and Nikola Tesla, comma, the most awesome dude to ever fire a lightning bolt at an angry peasant. The semicolon enables you to list and describe all three characters in the same sentence. Okay, so to review, you're going to use a semicolon to connect independent clauses when their independent clauses are not connected by a conjunction and when their topics are closely related. Or when you're listing things such as people, places, different things that already have a comma, you're going to use a semicolon so that way we can easily separate the different ideas. Okay, if you need more of a review, pause this video, find the video Semicolons by Schmoop on YouTube, and then come back to this video. Okay, so let's talk about colons. So you use a colon after an independent clause to introduce a list or illustration. So you're going to list things after a colon, and everything before the colon has to make sense on its own. For example, bring these items to the water park. Colon, a packed lunch, comma, sunscreen, and a towel. So bring these items to the water park is an independent clause. It makes sense on its own. Then we use a colon, and then we list the things that we want them to bring to the water park with them. Okay, so pause this video, go into YouTube, find the video Colons by Shmoop, and then come back to this video and we'll go over your assignment. Okay, so let's go over your assignment. Okay, on the first section is going to be talking about semicolon or colon errors. So fix the issue if there is an issue. If there is not, then mark C. Then your next section is going to be an ACT style section. So you're going to look at this paragraph, look at the underlined portion, and pick which answer is the best choice for each one.